I did look it up. It said that they were hairy, and I'm not really hairy.
Will you get on with it? It's fucking 7:30.
It is at 7:30. This is ridiculous.
All right, let's go. Let's go right now. Episode 118 of Below the Belt, joined by Alex from Bristol and Flav on the line. Hi, chaps. How are we?
How about go for
Brilliant. Next.
Fuck me. Last night then. So Mauricio Lara versus Josh Warrington 2. I was really quite looking forward to that fight, chaps, and but it ended up being quite a damp squib. What did you?
Don't fucking chaps me. Don't chaps, Alex. Right? You've got a lot of explaining to do. We were supposed to I don't care about Lara or Warrington right now.
Right.
We were supposed to be recording this podcast half hour ago. My missus is making my favourite, which is spaghetti bolognese, right?
With ketchup, like a child.
Yeah.
Why is this turning on me?
I don't know, but it just annoys me.
I haven't put ketchup on my spaghetti bolognese since the last time you came around here. How about I ask you how you felt that fight went, Cal, as a way of an apology to us?
Okay, you can ask me. It was interesting because a lot of... do you know what? I'm so used to I'm going to put this on T. I'm going to blame it on T. Because whenever you set a time to do a podcast with T, he'll go, all right, 7:00. And then 6:55 will turn around and he'll go, oh, just 15 minutes. I've got to eat something.
We thought you were dead.
I had my phone up. Whenever I charge my phone, I put it on flight mode just because it does it quicker. And I went to do a number 2 is the polite way of putting it. And I left my phone and I was reading Ring magazine on the can. Like the pure boxing head that I am. #boxingheads. In terms of the fight, I love a bit of Lara, me. I really like him. I want to see him box over here again. I think it'd be great to see him, but it was a real shame because I thought before the fight Lara's going to stop him again. And pretty much every shot that Lara threw, he was moving Warrington. Warrington felt them. And he was kind of moving them with them. And I thought, you're getting stopped again, Warrington. And then for the second time in the fight, Warrington went in with his head first. I can hear you kind of agreeing with me, Al. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say anything, but
that was me.
I mean, I am. I'll go because I'll remember the fight where Flav won't. But I felt the same. I thought Warrington looked a lot more conservative, but he can't help himself, can he? When he goes in like that, he goes in low, trying to find stuff to the body before he starts kind of engaging properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he caught Lara a couple of times beforehand, and you saw Lara complain about it. What I thought was funny, there was I heard a couple of people, I think even Eddie Hearn said it originally, but that they originally thought that Lara was trying to find a way out of the fight by complaining about their head, and then went to look at his cut and saw that it was bigger than the Severn Bridge, and obviously realised that wasn't true. But I mean, I put in the group after the midway through the second round that Warrington's getting sparks in about 8 minutes here, because I think it would have not come from nowhere, but you could see that every time he did get through, it was happening. I just didn't think Warrington would be disciplined enough to keep that up. What he was doing, if he'd have managed to keep up what he was doing through the whole fight, then maybe. But he wouldn't.
I thought he was losing the fight, the rounds that we even witnessed. It's a weird one with him, really, because he can't punch. He's got a great engine, and you've seen him back people up, like Frampton up, and turn the tide on fighters that you wouldn't expect him to. Lee Selby as well. But in the first fight and in this one, just thought you're out your depth. Like Lara, we didn't know this. We would never have known this if they hadn't fought each other. But Lara is probably up there with those two fighters that I just mentioned. So Warrington always has the problem with not being able to stop a fighter with one punch, and if he isn't been able to do that, then he's in trouble. And it felt like that from the beginning. It felt like, I don't know. It just felt like he just, as much as all the effort and all the skill he has, doesn't sort of circumnavigate the lack of power in his fists, and if the cut was horrendous, it was one of the worst cuts I've ever seen. It was like a vagina on the eyelid. It was that bad. And I had no issue with it being stopped as much as disappointing as it is to pay money and invest in something financially and just love boxing and want to see a good scrap and see how the storylines play out. It was a fair thing to call it off. It was horrendous.
100%. So Al, you were saying there that you kind of thought that Lara was getting to Warrington and that Warrington would stop him. I've just had a thought. Do you think, because the first fight, Warrington took a hell of a beating, didn't he? Do you think it would have been better for Warrington if he just would have got knocked out in that first round in the last fight?
It sparked out.
Not really. I mean, what's your reasoning?
Well, what I'm saying is because in the first fight he got dropped quite early. Like Warrington got dropped early and then he got stopped. He got stopped late. He got dropped in the fourth round and then got stopped late. But do you think it would have been better for him if he just would have got sparked in that fourth round instead of him getting smashed to bits for 9 rounds? That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, you've just asked me exactly the same question. What's the? Well, I don't know what the reason would be.
I think
what would be the benefit of that?
Well, is a quick stoppage better than a sustained beating? Is what I'm saying.
Oh, in terms of
you can rebuild, can't you? You can rebuild from a flash knockdown or a flash knockout. You can rebuild from that. If you just got beat up over, and I feel like that's where it was going. Like in a way,
yeah, but there was too many. There's too many circumstances that you could have put it down to whatever way. And you've seen it in other people. Even people like thinking like James Tennyson and people like that. You've seen the not excuses, but the other circumstances, the fact of no crowds and in bubbles and COVID. All of this stuff has been not blamed, but put there saying, well, that's what makes it different, and we don't know if that would have made a difference. And Josh Warrington is a crowd fighter. That much is true. But I think the result of the second fight would have ended up being the same. And I think if you'd have ended up like getting caught and knocked out, they're going to say, right, well, it wasn't quite on it. Because we all know that the Lara fight was not the first Lara fight, wasn't the original plan for Warrington anyway. So. I don't think so. Either way, I think we were going to end up at the same result in this fight. That's what I felt was going to happen, and after the first 2 rounds, didn't think any differently. The issue is now, of course, is with a cut like that. I mean, he's not going to be able to spar until at least February, March.
You're looking at 6 months easy.
Yeah. So Warrington, and I know what Warrington said about, well, this is the only fight I should be taking. 'Cause if I can't beat Lara, then what am I doing? Even talking about Gary Russell or
do you think that's
Vargas?
Because like Lara's probably better than he thinks he is, and Warrington's probably rating himself higher, and that's based on everything he's done. Like I said, like beating the fighters that I mentioned earlier. Like maybe he's overrating himself and underrating Lara.
I think it's more just he just feels that he just seems he seems like quite down to earth. I just think he'll look at the fact, I lost to him. I don't think I should have lost to him, so that's who I need to fight. But now, with that situation, I mean, that third fight or second fight, again, however you want to describe it, is what should happen. Is what probably it could happen again, obviously, and probably should. But there's going to be other scenarios. There's going to be other opportunities now because, like I said, if Lara can't even spar till February, March, Josh Warrington's got no mark on him and is fresh and has fought 2 rounds, and can he afford to wait until then? So that'll be the difference. But is Warrington going to get a fight against Ramirez or Vargas or whatever? Probably not. So
it feels like Warrington needs a challenge. He needs a mountain to climb, and if that mountain isn't there, then he won't be the fighter that.
Yeah, it's probably true.
So I don't know if Lara is that mountain. I maybe it would be in the third fight, but not enough happened in the second fight. And for it to finish the way it did, which is such a rare way for a fight of that magnitude to finish, that I don't think the third fight, and I'm sure that will happen, and Eddie Hearn's already said that the third fight has to happen, but a third fight will get him up to being the Josh Warrington that has entertained us so much. And like I say, if it isn't about his knockout punch, if he can't finish a fight in one punch, then he has to.
But then also, who's he going to fight? Because it's not, he's not going to start again now with another governing body. I mean, he's not even in the top, as of right now. I mean, I know it's easily done, but he's not even in the top 15 of the other governing bodies. So, that's having to then make a conscious decision that the next 18 months is about, getting back up there, and probably most likely with the IBF. So I don't know. It's a horrible situation for him. I felt for him last night.
Sorry to correct you, Albert. WBC have Warrington at 6. They have him at number 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not in the other one of the other ones.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't get it wrong and then say that's what I'm saying.
No, I was gonna, right, I'm saying I'm looking at him now. He's at number 6 with the WBC. But what I'm saying is
in the top 15 of any sanctioning body, didn't he say?
No, any of the others, I said.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
mate, I couldn't name you 3 sanctioning bodies. I don't know why I'm talking.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll tell you what might be fun, Al. Josh Warrington against Lee Wood. Why not?
Yeah. Well, this will be a decision he's going to have to make now, because he's probably going to have to go. I don't know. It depends on whether if he's on about world titles, then maybe that's gone now just by time and just the way things are going to end up. Yeah, I mean Lee Wood, Jordan Gill would be good.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it might be a smart idea for Warrington to fight. I'm not saying Jordan Gill's an easy fight, but maybe someone slightly easier would be good for him while he waits for Lara to recover from the cut. Because if he goes in there with Lee Wood, he might get knocked out again. And that would have been a mental thing to say a year ago, that Lee Wood would knock out Josh Warrington. But, Josh Warrington, he did some punditry. He sounded a little bit punchy. Yeah, sounded a little bit punchy in some of his interviews. 30 years old. He's 30 years old for a featherweight. He's not a young man. 30-year-old for a heavyweight. He's fresh as a daisy. But for a featherweight, you are starting to get on a little bit of that weight.
That's what I mean in terms of time. He might have to make a decision. If the Lara thing gets dragged out and starts getting dragged out till, May next year, if anything was to then delay that at all, if I was him, I'd be going, right, where can I make as much money as I can in this division, which at that weight is going to be domestically, really, especially now with with this whole with the DAZN thing and trying to he's someone that can sell relatively easy, sell lots of tickets, produce a big atmosphere like we saw at Headingley. They can produce a card around that, even if it's not two massively amazingly well known names. They can build a card around it, similar to like what they did last night, and that makes it easier if it's a domestic fight as well.
I absolutely love what the DAZN are doing and what Eddie Hearn's doing. I really
Of course
do.
you did.
You love Eddie, didn't you?
I just think he does things right. As a boxing fan, I want to watch boxing. I want to watch a really good card on a Saturday night. I don't want to pay fucking £30 or £20 for a decent card and a headline fight. I don't want to do that. I want to watch. I want to watch boxing, and the cards that they had on the what's it called, the fight camp. That was quality. That was absolute quality. There was really good fights on. There were women, and I never thought I'd actually really want to watch women fight, apart from Katie Taylor, who's obviously something else. But I'm actually watching just boxers. Fuck the women stuff off. I'm just watching boxers, and that the stuff that he's doing is like I can't understand anybody who, certainly in the UK, who watches boxing and doesn't rate what Eddie Hearn's doing. Like, it doesn't matter if you like him or not. He's a bit of a knob. I get it, but like, you can't fucking rate it like that. Like last night and the 3 shows they put on last month were quality. So yeah.
Okay.
I think the only thing about it is, I think what's great about Matchroom is that it feels good to watch it. It looks good. It looks slick. It looks HD. Do you know what I mean? Nothing looks half-assed, which is great. And then sometimes that can mask. I just feel that sometimes that can mask actually, and because he is so great at talking it up and getting you involved. I mean, that's what a promoter does. But I just think it sometimes masks actually that the shows aren't quite as good as they're made out sometimes. But on the whole, like I said, I mean, for what it is, we'll talk about DAZN price and everything in a minute. But yeah, I mean, he's doing it the best that there is in this country right now. So, there's not a huge amount to moan about.
There's not also a huge amount of competition, I'd have to say as well. So let's talk about that, Flav. The DAZN price has gone up from $1.99 to $7.99. So in essence, it's quadrupled. And if you have a look at the schedule for DAZN, there's not another card for the rest of the month now on DAZN, a British one at least. Is it worth it? You get Netflix for the same money.
Yeah, I mean, as a fan of the sport, it's 100% worth it. But the $1.99 price tag was ridiculous. It was never sustainable. It was when I signed up to it and thought, what, £2? I mean, like, you just like £2 is absolutely nothing for the fact that these guys and women are going into the ring and beating the fuck out of each other for our entertainment. So yeah, no issue with the price increase at all. I think I'm sure there are a lot of people out there going, well, I just want I want to see good cards. I want to see. You're getting good cards under Matchroom. You'll get good cards, so it's no issue. I would pay more than the £7.99. Like the people that are moaning about that price increase, firstly, don't realise the fact that £1.99 isn't sustainable for a network who's paying boxers to fight. That's one thing, but they're also not having that. They have no perspective in the fact that £8 a month is less than 2 pints of lager, and they will happily bung £100 in gear. While I mean, I don't speak on behalf of Below the Belt, but I speak on behalf of every single working class man who watches boxing.
Yeah.
They're spending so much more on gear a month than they ever will do on DAZN, right? So, like, just fucking shut up. Do you know what I mean? £8 a month to watch people fight for your entertainment is not expensive. It's not. And if you don't want to watch it, if you don't want to pay, don't. Just fuck off somewhere else. Just don't.
I agree with you. I don't have an issue with it really. I think the only argument I've seen against it is that if Anthony Joshua ends up staying with Sky, which is very likely after what we've heard this week, and Canelo just decides, can do what he wants, basically. If you take Canelo and Joshua out of that, really, I mean,
what?
I mean, it's not.
What, you wouldn't pay £8 for.
No, but you got to look at it, and I'm agreeing with you. I would. I've got no issue with it. I'm just trying to put it from where people have said. I haven't seen people saying, "Oh, it's great $7.99." What I've seen is there's people trying to just justify into a larger package. So $7.99. So you're talking 85-90 quid a year, right? It's good to look at both sides, though.
No, it ain't not if the other side's a fucking dickhead. The Nazis had an opinion once. You don't have to pay attention to it.
Fucking hell. Oh, my God.
Sorry, what?
I think the Nazis had an opinion. Is that what you said? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, the Nazis had an opinion once. It doesn't mean you have to fucking listen to them.
I know. That's a bit extreme, considering, like I said, you get Netflix for the same money as you get for DAZN, and there's fuck all on for the rest of the month. There's nothing else on. There's nothing else on. You're paying £8 for shit.
All I'm doing is reacting to what Alex said in terms of you have to listen to the other side's opinion. If they don't like it, don't listen to them. Look, if DAZN are doing enough, I would pay £8 a month for.
But what you're doing is you pay £8 a month essentially for Saturday night fight nights, good Saturday night fight nights. But that's just what you have to decide, because if Joshua doesn't go and Canelo does what he likes,
I don't think about them.
Well, no, but I'm just saying that's where the decision will be. Is if you feel that the Saturday night fight cards are good, which I think they are, I'm agreeing with you. Then because I have no issue. But some people might look at that and go, do you know what? I'm not sure that those Saturday night fight night cards are worth it. That's all.
Then DAZN will foul. But I don't think it will.
Well, I think Matchroom. I think they do have a kind of an issue now. Eddie Hearn was.
I'll just be 2 secs a minute. Give me 1 sec. Carry on.
Yeah, that's fine. I think Matchroom do have kind of an issue now. And when this kind of deal was announced, I did mention this when it was announced, and said they can't piggyback on Premier League football anymore. They can't piggyback on Sky Sports and Premier League football. They did.
Did they?
Oh my God, yes. Whenever there was a big fight on, they would advertise it during the football. You've got Sky Sports News, which is 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's basically an advert, isn't it? Sky Sports News. But people watch it, you know. When there's nothing else on, you throw on Sky Sports News, don't you? I do. And now Sky are not going to be plugging their fights anymore. Sky is because of Premier League football, it's a monster, and they don't have that now. And did you see on one of the cards the other week, Flav, where they had an advert for DAZN, and it was Barry and Eddie Hearn making themselves a pot of tea while I was installing DAZN?
Didn't see that, but I can imagine that being quite smug.
It was not just that it was smug, but they were advertising on how to install DAZN on DAZN.
That's the problem. The problem, I agree. Sky are always going to be the kingpin because everybody has Sky installed in their house, don't they? That if Eddie Hearn has to do work to encourage people to download the app or get whatever they need to do, you know, get it installed in their stick or wherever, however they get into DAZN, then they're already doing more work than they should, and they should be concentrating on the boxing. What do you think then, Cal? Because if they as a Matchroom blown their load too early, do they think that they're more significant in terms of their draw on an audience or a boxing audience, or do you feel like this is going to win out for them? I feel like it will if they've just put on good cards. They don't need they don't need people to be paying £50 or £30 or £40 for a fucking YouTuber boxing event. They don't need to do that. They can just tap into the boxing audience, which is substantial based on the work that Matchroom have done.
Yeah, I think it's, it is 2021. Everyone's got apps now. We've all got smart TVs, and you can just install apps onto it. I've got DAZN on my TV. It was pretty easy to install. But I think they are going to have an issue reaching kind of the common boxing fan, or the casual, because that's always been their market, Matchroom, isn't it? They've always wanted the casual fan. That's always been gold to them. And I think that's where piggybacking on the Premier League football worked for them, and having Sky Sports as a partner worked for them. And now with Sky Sports having their own kind of venturing back into boxing and not just relying on one promoter, they're not going to give any time to Matchroom now. And I also thought it was a little bit, when you're having an ad. This is slightly off topic, but you're having an advert for DAZN for the boxing. Why has Eddie Hearn put himself in the advert? Why doesn't he put Conor Benn in the advert? Why doesn't he put one of his fighters in the advert?
Eddie Hearn, he has more sway than all of the fighters. He is the guy. Like, I can appreciate from a boxing fan's perspective that a promoter shouldn't be the guy.
Yeah.
But look how good Don King was. I know he's a scumbag, but he was good for the in terms of what he did. He was good, and Eddie Hearn is a much more sort of wholesome version of the promoter that Don King was. But he's the guy. He is the guy. He's the people he's the face that the people would tune into. And I'm sure there are people that are listening to this that are really into boxing and thinking, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But the fact is, it's true. People like Eddie Hearn, and he will be a face for DAZN and try and draw people in to pay their £8 a month and see what happens. And if they, this has been a bold move, Matchroom. It really has. Like, if it doesn't work, I don't know where they go. It's hard because Sky ain't going to take them back. They got Boxer now, right? And we're going to talk about that in a bit. But
yeah,
like what do Matchroom do from here if DAZN doesn't work out? And I've heard, actually, from working with people in the sports media scene, I'm not dropping names or anything like that, but DAZN aren't financially stable. Like,
of course not.
They're gambling.
Oh, of course not. It was. I don't think you have to be really in the know to know that they are blowing their load, DAZN, on boxing. They're really going all in on it, and we spoke about it before, they signed Canelo to a huge deal. It was an 11-fight deal. They had to cancel that deal early because they couldn't afford it anymore. They signed Gennady Golovkin at 38 years of age to a 3-fight deal, which I think was 11 million a pop. Like they've really gone in probably a bit too much on boxing, and then they've obviously started out in the UK 199, and then they've quadrupled it to 799, which I completely understand. I think a fiver might have been a bit more palatable in the short term, and then go to 799. But yeah, I don't think it doesn't take.
You say like you pay what you paying £10 a month for Netflix?
I pay £4 because it's part of my Sky package.
Okay, but if generally people are paying £7 or £8 for Netflix, right? A bit more maybe.
Yeah, I'd say about that. Yeah,
none of those fucking actors are getting punched in their face. None of those actors are risking their own livelihood or their own, general health.
Yeah.
So yeah, fuck it.
I think we're both. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think we're both agreed that boxers deserve to make as much money as they can, and we've said that a million times. But I think for again the casual fan that just wants entertainment, it's about value for money, isn't it? And it's like there's this card yesterday, and then there's not really much for the rest of the month for £8.
There might be next month. There might be next.
Yeah, month. Yeah, it's possible. It's still early at the minute. I'm just looking at BoxRec, and next month on DAZN, it's the Liam Smith Anthony Fowler card on the 9th, my birthday. That will be good.
Is Ryder fighting in Austria in the week?
I can't see it, John Ryder. I don't see it on BoxRec, but it might something that's not on BoxRec yet. But there's not loads. That's my point. There's not loads coming up on DAZN.
Yeah, but there might be not loads now, but there might be loads in the future. Just fucking invest. Just put it in. Like if 6 months down the line, you haven't got your value, you haven't got what you put in, then just unsubscribe or put money in it. Support the boxers, support Eddie Hearn because he's done good stuff. And see what happens in the next sort of 3 or 4 months, or don't fucking watch it. Go and fucking moan about MMA or fucking wrestling or something.
Team stream. It's always team streamer. Flav.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's quickly talk about the Sky Sports thing. Al, they got our boy Eubank Jr. So they've announced this joint venture with Boxer. They're like a British-based promoter. I think they put on like the Ultimate Boxer series that was on some of the smaller channels. I think it was on like Quest Red and all of that a few months ago. But they've got Chris Eubank Jr., Josh Taylor, Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields, Lewis Ritson, and 1 or 2 others to box exclusively on Sky. Sky have also got the top rank cards on their platform as well. They're showing a lot of the PBC cards as well. I imagine they'll be in the hunt for the Canelo Plant fight in November. What do you think about all that, Al?
Yeah, I think it's actually not really too bad. So, I mean, if you think about, if you think of people like Hughie Fury, Savannah Marshall, and Lewis Ritson, all people that have been, pushed with Matchroom. Obviously, Hughie Fury only recently. I think he still had a couple of fights left on his deal with Matchroom as well. But they were struggling really to do anything for him, or it would be mid card at least. Whereas here he could go and headline on one of these shows now. So I think that's where it is. I think look, it's good that Sky is still involved with boxing, because I wasn't sure whether they would. And so we've got when Eubank's got Elbear or whatever is Elber, I don't know how to pronounce it. That's less than a month away. And we'll watch that fight. We always watch Eubank Jr. and he'll draw. Richard Riakporhe as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember who he's fighting, but he's on that card. And Avanesian. So that's something I would watch. Again, but it wouldn't be something I would be paying a Sky Sports subscription for boxing, because at that level. But in terms of it being involved in it and being British based, then yeah, it's good. And I've been on their website the other day, and they've got they'll have podcasts, and Bunce is involved, and I think Amir Khan's involved with it as well. So they'll have some names that will draw some attention. But what they're losing is, and as much as we've just talked about, they are losing Eddie Hearn. who they haven't really got a front man for it. I mean, Adam Smith isn't going to be the front man of Sky Sports Boxing because he's just not he's not charismatic enough, and I'm not sure who the main guy behind Boxer is, but they're going to need. I saw Johnny Nelson have an interview in the week and just saying, "Oh, we don't really need an Eddie Hearn like a front man for this." And I disagree. I think they're going to need someone who's going to be in front and center of all this to really make it work and evolve and at least try and keep up with DAZN, which they won't, but at least be in the race.
Yeah, I know they're with Wasserman Boxing, who they've got they're with the Sauerland brothers, aren't they?
Oh, yeah,
yeah. The Sauerland brothers I imagine will lead in terms of be like lead promoters for a lot of the fights, so they will have a front man. But I guess maybe Sky don't want a massive personality like Eddie Hearn, that's kind of doing karaoke on Sky Sports News instead of promoting his fighters.
No, they want all of that. They are reeling. I'd imagine Sky Sports having a conversation saying, "Do we even do boxing anymore? If we can't have Matchroom, is this worth it? All right, let's talk to this Boxer outfit and see what they got." And to be fair, Eubank Jr. is exciting. I'd definitely watch wherever he fights, whatever situation where he's in the ring. I'll watch it. And same with Josh Taylor. They've probably got the best fighter in Great Britain.
100%.
That's significant, but they're 100% questioning their position now. That this is a leverage. This is them saying we need to do boxing because we have a boxing order. People are waiting on Sky Sports to watch boxing. Like even as a fan of boxing to a significant degree, I was looking at Sky Sports thinking, when's the boxing coming on? And not properly realising the significance of the fact that Matchroom have gone with DAZN. And so there is still an audience there, but it will diminish very quickly. And people like Josh Taylor and Eubank Jr. will fall foul to that. And eventually, it reminds me of a little bit?
Yeah.
Froch fighting for Hennessy.
Right.
Where he was so much better than that promotional company and fighting on fucking a leisure centre and fighting on Channel 5. And he just needed someone to lift him up. It kind of feels like that. Like Josh Taylor, at some degree, will realise he needs to get a part of a significant promotional company. And same, I don't think it'll ever happen with Eubank Jr. because he's just a different kind of guy. And he's not as good as Groves was. And Groves' career was sort of transcended by his bad decisions in terms of, and I say bad, it might have felt good for him, but as a fan of his, it felt like he made the wrong decisions in not sticking with, Booth, or not sticking with, when he had the opportunity to join Matchroom, stay with them because they will elevate you. And he just sort of flaunted around various promoters. It kind of feels like Eubank Jr. that I don't think you're not as good as Groves was, and so your career will suffer. You need someone to guide you and maybe let your ego go to the side.
I saw on Twitter today that Chris Eubank Jr. is the same age as his dad was when he retired.
Yeah, it's mental.
It's true.
Correct.
It's look, we all love Eubank Jr., but there's a little bit of bad luck, but also an element of frustration because if you believe what what you hear in terms of the whole Golovkin thing, they made it so much of a ball ache for Matchroom to get. In the end, they had the opportunity and they ended up giving it to Kell Brook, and that could have changed everything. I'm not saying he would have beat him, but that's a big name, and we've always felt with you, man. But really, other than the Groves fight, all right, De Gale was good, but we suspected that De Gale was done anyway.
Yeah.
Other than the Groves fight, really, I mean, it's been he had the great knockout in the semi-final, and then other than that, it's all been stuff that you'd expect him to win. And obviously the Billy Joe rematch will always be there. I know they've been talking again this week. But really, just an element of frustration with him, really, because you just expected so much more, even if it had been a different route. I think it's unfortunate that he came up against Groves, and he had to take the tournament shot. Why wouldn't you? But yeah, it's a shame. It's not been quite. I'd love to know what he genuinely thinks of his career, really. And just whether he'd wish he'd. Whether his dad could have been less involved, because there's no doubt about it. But there's only a few things that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn both agree on, and working with the Eubanks is something that they agree on. In terms of how difficult it is. So that's got to tell you something.
Yeah, it's mad with him. It's just he boxed beat the Gal in February 2019. Then he boxed Matt Korobrov at the end of the year. That ended in a round. Really, he should have been out 3 months later because he only boxed a round. Because Korobrov did his shoulder, and he doesn't fight again for 18 months. Yes, COVID is a factor, massive factor, but so many people were still getting out and boxing, and he wasn't. And it's just now he's boxed in May, beat Marcus Morrison, looked pretty good in doing so, and now he's fighting Sven Elber. And I saw an interview with Chris Eubank where he said, it doesn't have to be about titles. I just want big fights. And it's like, well, right now you're not doing either. You're not boxing for titles, and you're not boxing for big fights. And a lot of the world titles right now, the WBA are finally clearing up their act. They're getting rid of the interim titles. Eubank would have lost his interim title now because they've got rid of them all. Golovkin's looking to fight Murata at the end of the year. Charlo's, I don't know if he's in prison, but he just got arrested. And Andrade, I think Andrade's about to move up at some point. So it's just not much out there for Eubank really, and I guess he's just kind of keeping busy. But I'm looking forward to seeing him box again. Always look forward to seeing him box again. Let's go back to the undercard from last night. Let's talk about Conor Benn, Flav. What do you think of Conor Benn last night? I thought he boxed okay. He won wide. Granados was kind of like a cute journeyman to me. I don't know what you thought.
I felt like it was the right fight for him. Really, it just get rounds in the bank. The last the win against Vargas was so conclusive that he didn't learn anything other than the fact that this guy's got power. I'm really excited about him. I never thought we'd get to this situation where Conor Benn was like a genuine contender, someone that we'd enjoy watching. It was just a gimmick back in the day. Like 2 years ago, it was a gimmick when he got who was it? He struggled with, and I think he got a draw.
Cedric Paynow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just thought that he's he's not going to be that good, but it's clear that he's genuine about the sport. He's He's exciting. He's explosive. My issue when I was watching this was that maybe he doesn't have the power that he thinks he has, and will his lack of education, pull him up? Will he have a struggle? But I really enjoyed the fight. I did think, like I said earlier, just the amount of times he was throwing heavy bombs, he was loading up consistently, and it weren't really hurting the guy. But he's so far along than I thought he would be, and I'm just glad that he's there, and I'm glad. I can't wait to watch him fight next time.
He is good fun. What did you think, Al?
Yeah, almost exactly the same as I described it, to be honest. I felt I always enjoyed a bit of last round Conor Benn as well. That was fun. But he's how old is he? 22. And he's
24.
24. So he's had
so young.
Yeah, and it's easy to then start throwing names now because you see a lot of them, and I think we've seen that before with where we end up seeing a lot of them. That was a big criticism that I had of Matchroom with certain fighters, was that we'd see so much of them and get told, yeah, these are going to be the real deal, and then you wouldn't see them make that step up, or it takes so long to make that step up. But this guy is very young, and obviously we know had a really, really limited amateur career and has been pushed harder because of his commercial value. So you're just going to have to be patient with him. This isn't a Luke Campbell or Callum Smith situation where you're just waiting and waiting and waiting for, an actual proper step up. Yeah, there's a genuine reason as to why, this is going to be taken carefully. So, yeah, I mean, we know that they've talked about the Amir Khan fight. I don't think Amir Khan would have any interest in that, really.
He's absolutely banged out, 100%.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening. But then start talking about some of the big names. I mean, talking about Broner, they were talking about last night and that type of stuff. That's for between in the next year, 18 months.
It doesn't have to be that quick, do you? I don't know what you feel, but it just doesn't have to be that quick. Like, he doesn't have to talk about Broner. I know he wants it, and he has to appear as a warrior, and I'll fight anybody. But it needs I'm sure he has it, but someone just to manage his career now, because he has all the potential and he's really young. But just don't want to. I think you put him in the ring with Broner right now, he'll beat him
100%.
But if he does beat him, that elevates him up to a level that perhaps he's not ready for. Like, Broner isn't the guy. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic to watch him beat up Broner, and he probably would do that. But
this is the thing. And this is the line they have to tread, is that once you're at that level, you can't come back down again, and you then can't say how brilliant and amazing they are whilst they have these relatively simple fights, regardless of where they are in their boxing career, because it depends on how they're marketed. Because you can't have it both ways. That's what some of us used to say about Joshua at times, like being told that he's the best heavyweight in the world and he's fighting Molina. Or the fights that he had after Charles Martin, you understand obviously from a boxing point of view as to why, and a boxing education and career as to why you go up in those stages. But once you're there, you got to stay there. Then there's no excuse for doing anything else.
And that's a challenge, isn't it, Al? Because it's you're comparing their expectations and their ego with where they should be positioned. Like, I'm sure Conor Benn believes it 100% that he wants to go and destroy all of these guys. And there'll be many opportunities for him to do that if he just takes a step back and go, all right, what's right for me now? And I think someone needs to step in and just say, right, this is what you got to do, Conor. You're so good. We believe in you. You are this guy. And genuinely, I believe it. I believe that he is the guy that he says he is now. Just if he can someone can just take a step back, enable him to take a step back and go, all right, okay, what's the sensible thing here? Let's take 2 fights that will improve you, and then go for someone big. Broner will probably be done by then, but I don't think Adrian Broner is the correct thing right now, although I'd love to see it.
I don't think that Eddie Hearn can afford Broner. I don't think he can actually afford. I don't think he can justify the outlay that it would cost to get Broner. Not that Broner's good, he's not shit and he's finished, but he's been used to making a lot of money because he does get people's attention. But the issue for Conor Benn is, he's not saying this, but he's not interested in fighting Chris Kongo, Eko Usman, the British champion. He's not interested in fighting David Avanesian, the European champion. He doesn't want to fight these guys, but at the same time, it's like he thinks he's too good to fight for the European title. But at the same time, he's not ready for world level. He's not a world-class fighter. I'm not sure he ever will be a world-class fighter.
I think I think if he fights those guys, then he would legitimately be a world-class fighter. I feel like he is. I feel like he could go on to do this stuff, but he can't. It's like the person, the fighter who says, "I'm not going to do the British title. I'm not going to fight for Lonsdale because I'm better than that." Like, go and fight those guys. Like, clean up at European level, and then absolutely fucking put 10 toes into the world level. But you're right, there are too many question marks right now, and there are so many great fights we'd love to see him in because he is so exciting. But you can't elevate yourself above where you're at right now, and like I say, beating Broner doesn't actually help him, I don't think, because he could get unstuck very quickly. He get unstuck against Avanesian, so it's a strange situation he finds himself in, but it's amazing that he is in this situation because I never thought he would be.
Yeah, he is. He is an interesting fighter, and he gets people talking, and that's the main thing, really. You want to get people talking. Was there much else on the undercard that got your guys' attention, Al?
Your mum.
No, well, have you talked about? I don't know if I missed it, but did you talk about Maxie Hughes?
No, go ahead.
So, I mean, that was a great performance. Again with Straffon as well. Him and Lara were both wondering. There was still some talk about, actually how good are these two? And they're part of the same team, aren't they? And they came over, so it's not been a great night for them, really, with a loss and then a no contest. But I mean that was a big win. I mean, we all know what we think about the IBO, but that's something that Maxie Hughes is one of the most improved boxers of the last kind of 12 to 18 months since the pandemic hit. And it was really pleased for him. But I thought he boxed really well. But no, other than that, I thought it was all relatively. I mean, Katie Taylor did what she had to do. I imagine it was fairly hard to be up for that. I don't know what that means.
Go on, Flab, do it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do the voice. Dance for me like a dancing bear. Do the thing I want you to do.
I think she's a great fighter. So, she could absolutely kick the shit out of almost any woman or any man actually that gets into that ring. So I will never not respect her. She's amazing.
She's very good. She's kind of in a place though right now. It's like she can either drop down in weight, which I'm not sure she'd make 130, but there was talk about World Boxing Super Series happening for the women at around 130. So she could drop down and do that, or she can go up and fight Jessica McCaskill welter, who she's beat before. She's beat McCaskill before, but that was a weight that suited her. I think it was at 140. Could they meet and maybe she'd go up to welter, win the undisputed welterweight title, and then maybe retire? I don't know. Not much for her out there, really.
It just feels a little bit like there's it's a similar situation to Josh Warren, where the power isn't there, and she's good enough, skillful enough to dance around a ring with anybody. But if you can't hurt someone, then you're at a significant disadvantage. And it just feels like we're reaching that point. Certainly since she left her dad. I was left her dad up. It's a mad sort of personal situation she found herself in there. But there was a dip in quality since she left him, and I don't know. It's like what one of them what could have been. And she may go on to do amazing things, and she probably will. But just feels like she's at the top of her powers right now, at a peak, and it will start to decline somewhat.
She's 35 and a lightweight. I think it's fair to say she is at her peak. She's comfortably past her best now. And I think you're right. I don't think there's much left for her. And it feels like, not so much last night, but it feels like the fights are getting harder for her. Pursoon pushed her hard twice.
I love that.
Natasha Jonas, who I don't think really is in her class, pushed her close. I think she should probably fight Jessica McCaskill again for the undisputed welterweight title, and then jacket. She's beat her once before.
Alex is listening to this and thinking, I could still do Kate's hair. I could definitely stick her to her body.
Yeah. Do you know what, Al? Earlier on, England played Andorra. Do you think you could have scored today? Do you think you could have scored in the England team today?
I'll tell you now. I went to Shrewsbury Food Festival today, and Shrewsbury Football Club had a mini, like a foosball, like a size 3 football where you had to get it through these different holes to win different points.
Right.
And it was like a 25, a 50 point, and a 100 point. And the 100 point was like right in the kind of top corner, and you had to be like ridiculous distance away. And my 4-year-old said, "Dad," I said, "which one should I go for?" And she went, "Oh, the 100." And then there was like a couple of the lads around that kind of just laughed and went, "Oh," like that. Stuck it down, bang, straight in the top right-hand corner. Ran away, hand in the air, left her there while she was holding the bag of chili sauces that I'd bought, and came back and said, "Didn't expect me to do that, did you?" And walked off.
Old lady stood up and went, "Fuck immigrants," and then everyone stood up and clapped.
Not in Shrewsbury.
Definitely
Not in Shrewsbury.
They hate immigrants there.
Shrewsbury's posh.
Is it?
That's, anyway, you go posh respect.
Yeah, but what I mean is they don't say it out loud. They just,
Oh,
say it at dinner parties.
Fair enough.
It was funny actually the other day. Do you remember, Flav? And we was doing, I think it might have been a Fighting Cock preview pod or something like that. And I said, I could score 10 goals in the Scottish Premier League.
No.
Give me a full pre-season. You won't remember. You never remember anything I do. How many goals do you think you could get in the Scottish Premier League, Al, if you had a full pre-season?
7.
No.
7?
Yeah, fuck off.
For Rangers or Celtic. You get to play for Rangers or Celtic.
No. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter who you play for. That's like saying how many punches could you dodge from Mike Tyson at his peak?
Well, it's not, because I played football to a very high level.
Yeah, but that's like saying fucking Jake Paul could live with Mike Tyson. That's what it's saying. I'm Jake Paul. I knocked out 3 people, therefore I could live with Mike Tyson. That's the same thing.
It's not. Trust me. 7. It depends where I'm playing. If I'm playing
score
right
7
up,
goals in any professional league, that's ridiculous, Alex.
no. Well, I know. I mean, thanks, but it's it's not. It's not. It's hard. It's not really up for debate for me, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I said as much every day. In Rangers or Celtic, with a full pre-season, I think I get between 5 and 10 goals for Rangers or Celtic.
Both of you are fucking idiots.
That shows the disdain I hold the Scottish League in. It's interesting you're talking about Jake Paul. I don't really care about the fight too much. I was just more interested, Flav, more in your opinion about. There's always this debate around, having the YouTuber as the main event and then putting the undercard fighters on the undercard. Do you actually think that people like Jake Paul are good for boxing, or do you think it's just a sideshow?
It's definitely a sideshow. It won't last, because unless Jake Paul genuinely wants to get in amongst it and actually start boxing people who can box, then maybe it will be substantial. As long as this goes on, the more I'm kind of warming to him. Like I kind of feel like he's doing something that I would never dream of doing, and he'd never had to do. He talks about Conor McGregor, that he's been dug out for not living the life and getting rich, and Aldo said that he's got everything, so he's never going to be the Conor McGregor of the past. But Jake Paul had everything. Like, he's a millionaire already. So why do you want to get in the ring? And it was easily excused before, because he got in the ring with, I can't remember, some geezer, and then he got in the ring with a bloke who played basketball. So if you're training at, if you put 2 years of boxing training in, you're going to beat someone who just plays basketball. And then the next level was this guy, Tyrone Woodley. And I don't know much about MMA, but Tyrone Woodley seemed to have a little bit about him, and he beat him up as well. So, I mean, I don't know, there was some argument about whether he won it or not. I don't know. But the fact is, and he's a cash cow, so he's always going to get the decision, and that he's feeding tons of money into the sport. But there will come to a point where he has to fight someone who understands boxing. And I hope, I really hope, as someone who loves the sport, that he gets beat up badly. I just don't trust that there won't be some sort of ulterior motive involved, that this won't be some sort of YouTube narrative for him. And like the idea of Tommy Fury going in the ring with him, knowing that Tommy Fury is more interested in the way he looks and being on Love Island, it just kind of all feeds in. Like, put him in with fucking Matthew Hatton, like half his size. Eat your liver. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of that sort of thing I want to see. But I've gone on the tangent here. But is he good for boxing? If it means that more boxers get more money because of him, then it's good. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter. I'd say wipe the sand out your vagina if you're really that bothered by him.
Yeah. Like I said, haven't watched his fight. I have no interest in watching his fights. I don't think he is good for boxing at all. I think it's almost like this kind of stuff's almost like an extension of reality TV. Most reality TV shows are just people arguing, but in different places. And this is just kind of taking it to the next level. It's just like making people slightly famous by being on YouTube, and then making them have fights with it. And then they just start fighting with each other, not making them, but they thought, they decide to have a fight with each other and then sell tickets for it. It's very clever, but it's not really any relation to boxing at all. And I get why Dubois.
He's a better blue collar fighter than almost any other that we've seen, right? He's good. Like I mean, like on a like your mates down the pub level. If he's gonna have a scrap, he's the guy you're gonna look to. He's put the work in. Like you got to give him some credit. I know he's exploiting all this shit, but
yeah, I think he's it takes bollocks to get into a boxing ring. I'm not going to take that away.
If he beats Tommy Fury, will he give you? Will he get your respect then?
Yeah, I suppose. I don't think he will beat Tommy Fury. I think Tommy Fury would beat him. But yeah, if he beat Tommy Fury, and I don't particularly rate Tommy Fury, but I think, you know what, fair play. You've actually beat a guy that is a boxer. Whereas, he beat Ben Askren, who was a wrestler and, was in terrible shape. And then he beat, Tyrone Woodley, who was, I think he was retired or at least semi-retired and wasn't a boxer either. And he was blown out of his arse off.
But nor is Jake Paul. He's not a boxer.
No. He did, yeah.
He beat a fighter. Do you know what I mean?
He did.
I get it. I hate it as well, Cal.
Yeah.
I hate it as well. You just have to look at it sometimes thinking, maybe this kid is doing something. I don't know.
He might.
I hope he gets his brain smashed. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's end on some actual. Let's end on actual boxing now. Canelo Plant rescheduled for November for the first time in the division's history. Undisputed championship in the 4-belt era. You looking forward to that, Al? I know we've spoken about it before.
I didn't realize that was true.
Yes, it's announced. It's happened.
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it feels just like a what just needs to be getting out of the way. I mean, no one expects, a different result, do they? So, am I looking forward to it? I mean, you always look forward to watching the best fighter in the world fight. So yes, but it's more a question of, what's next, really, already, isn't it? Because that's something that is then ticked off the list. Then is it just a question of Golovkin? Probably. So, yeah. I mean, looking forward to it's probably the wrong word. I'm looking forward to it getting out of the way.
Yeah. Flav, I know you love Canelo. Oh, is Flav gone? Flav gone?
Can I just say my 2 cents about Paul?
Go on.
I think it'll fizzle out. There's only a novelty level to certain things for a certain amount of time, and for the amount of people that are paying to watch him or is bringing interest, is that once they've seen him fight, a certain amount of time, surely that intrigue is gone because they're not interested in boxing as a whole. So when it becomes a fight that is like about an actual step towards something, are they going to care? I think it'll fizzle out eventually. I think there'll always be an element of it, but I think we're still in the first kind of glimpses of what YouTube and kind of social media influencers can have on a sport like this. He has my respect for because he's got in a ring and he's done the work. He looks in great shape and that's great. But I think it'll fizzle out eventually. I don't think it's something we need to massively worry about as in terms of purists of boxing. Really,
no. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. I was just more kind of interested in this kind of argument that it's good because he has proper boxers on his undercard, and I think but no one gives a shit. Like
again, it's it's opportunities, especially in the times that we're in or have been in.
Yeah,
it's opportunities, and it's up to you whether you take them or not.
Yeah. That's fair. I think you're right. And I think you're right. And Canelo, I think I agree with you on Canelo as well. It's always good to see him box. Doesn't matter who it is against. I think he'll beat Plant, and then it has to be light heavy after that. I think Golovkin. I think that's over. I think it's finished. I think Golovkin's going to lose a fight very soon. He might even lose to Morata. Maybe not. But Canelo's up to light heavy. Better Biev, and the road to cruiserweight continues.
Let's
I knew that. I knew that would bring you back, Flav. You went really quiet then.
Yeah, just like let's destroy it every single cruiserweight. I'll say let's Canelo go and destroy every light heavyweight and cruiserweight because you can do it, and this will cement your legacy as the best fighter that has ever been. If he does that, I think. If it, like, I know it's madness, and when we're talking fairy tale land here, right? But if he goes to light heavyweight and cleans up there, which would be enough. If he goes to cruiserweight, cleans up there, which he could do. He's that good enough. Then best ever. Go.
I'm excited to watch a cruiserweight win the world heavyweight title in a 3 weeks time.
You still doubling down on that?
I am genuinely convinced. Might be a bit strong, but I genuinely think he'll beat him.
Right. Yeah. Usyk Joshua. Who are you picking? Okay. Flav?
Joshua. He's too big. Joshua.
I was all in on Usyk. I like it.
I genuinely am. I think he'll have. I don't know. I think he'll outmove him.
Yeah.
He definitely will do that. It's just whether or not he can take.
I think he's clever enough not to get hit for long enough.
Chisora hit him.
Yeah.
And that's it's like your dad hitting you with a fucking cricket bat.
Yeah, I'm in it. I'm calling it now.
You're not doing this because like I've gone early and I'm gonna just stick with it even though I'm wrong.
I genuinely think he'll win. You know,
would that be a good thing for boxing? Like, would we want that as a UK?
Yeah,
boxing.
I don't think it matters.
I don't give a fuck about you whether he's British or not. I mean, that means nothing to me. Yeah, but
excitement of watching Joshua fight Fury or
I don't think we'll get that. I don't think that'll ever happen anyway. To be honest,
I think it's
not. Yeah, but if that doesn't happen, then you got to watch. Is anyone going to sit up and watch Usyk versus fucking Wilder? No, absolutely not. We're not going to sit up for that. I'm not. I'm going to judge you what you can do. But
if Usyk beats him and he wins, then that's exciting because
it's not exciting. It's not exciting.
Why?
Why? Who's sitting up and watching Usyk versus fucking Wilder? No. But we're sitting up because we want Fury and Joshua to fight each other.
No, that's not. I mean, I understand that.
If you had a choice between the two, you wouldn't choose that. You'd rather sit up and watch Usyk.
No, I choose whoever deserves to be there.
Yeah,
regardless of what that is.
It's that thing of we want to see the two best heavyweights in the world fight each other, and I think right now, we're about to.
We want to see the storyline.
And that's the wrestling fan in you talking, Flav.
Kayfabe.
I think we want to see the best fighters fight the best fighters, and there's this myth in boxing that the best fighters don't fight the best, which is absolutely rubbish. They
want to see the storyline. That's what we want.
Yeah. You want to see Hogan the Ultimate Warrior, don't you? You don't want to see the Boss Man. You want to see Hogan the Ultimate Warrior.
Everybody talks about fucking when Hulk Hogan gorilla pressed the big fat pig. I can't remember his name.
Andre the Giant.
Yeah. Everyone talks about that. No one talks about fucking Hulk Hogan fighting Hacksaw Jim Duggan because he deserved. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I hate wrestling. But you know what I'm getting at.
I know what you're saying.
But both of you, like, can we just agree on this?
Yeah.
That you'd rather, if you had to pay for a fight, you'd rather Joshua Fury than anything else.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I think seeing two. Excitement. Yeah, if they were both number 1 and 2, best heavyweights in the world, and in Britain at Wembley Stadium, it'd be amazing. I think we all want to see that.
But a spectacle, yeah. I mean, but if Joshua lost to Usyk, for example, and then said, "Oh, actually, we can still do Joshua Fury now. Do you want to see it?"
Oh,
be like, well, yeah, but one's going in as a big favourite now. I don't know.
But the question was whether or not we wanted Usyk to beat Joshua, and we don't want that. That would be the worst.
Well, not really, because I think if I want
the entire nation.
Surely the whole intrigue of the sport is seeing who's
Usyk versus fucking Fury or the other one.
Yeah, but surely the whole intrigue, the whole point of if it really is that, then he should just not bother fighting Usyk and just wait until you can fight Joshua. But that's not what the sport's about. winning what you have to win, and if
Not
you
at that
can't
level.
win it and get to the place you need to be, then you don't deserve to be there. That's part of the intrigue, isn't it?
100% that is the correct way to be. But at that level, you just think, don't fight him. It's pathetic. Like, just don't bother fighting him, and then just wait for the other lumps to figure their shit out, and then just fight them. You know, there's so many good fights down the divisions that we could be watching. Like Usyk versus Joshua. And if Joshua loses that, Eddie Hearn will be furious, absolutely furious. Because what's left? What's he gonna do? Start promoting Usyk like he does Joshua? No chance. So anyway,
Imagine the scenes, though, right? Imagine the scene because it's on Sky, isn't it? It's on Sky Box Office.
I do want that, yeah.
You want it. You want it until it happens.
But imagine it.
Nah, it'd be the worst. It'd be shit.
But we've all stayed up to watch Usyk in other fights. We've all been excited to watch Usyk fights before.
We haven't.
When? I went to Manchester and watched.
Yeah, we went to go watch him smash Bellew up to pieces.
No, you went to watch Bellew. That you didn't watch.
No, we did not.
You say you didn't. You did. I know you two. You're.
We didn't. T. Cal and I went. If Bellew had been fighting anyone else,
a Ukrainian bloke I don't care about smash up an English bloke I do care about. That's what happened.
Fucking right, we did.
You're pathetic.
I just want to see. Imagine, think about it, right? Because the Joshua Usyk's not going to be on Sky Box Office, right? Which means Matchroom are having their big reunion with Sky Sports after the dirty breakup, right? I think Usyk beats Joshua, right? Split decision, and Eddie Hearn's face, it just drains and loses all his colour. His toupee starts to slip a little bit. And then Adam Smith runs up to him, gives him the fucking crotch chops. Like, yeah, suck it, Eddie, suck it. Team Usyk for life. The scenes would be amazing.
Through the school gates.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right, and with that in mind, that will do.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
I eat my dinner now.
Yes, you can. Thank you so much.
I love you.
All right, love you too, champ. Take care.
Bye.